Okay, we are back here again. All right, this this will be the chapter number 1 for the econometric EBE2174. So I'm doing this video without my face. If not, it's going to be disturbing maybe your attention. So let's talk like a radio station. All right, very good morning, very good afternoon, very good night to all of you. Whatever time that you watch this video, and let us start with this chapter number 1 video. All right, okay, all right, for the econometric class. So the idea behind of this chapter 1 is about introduction. The preface for this class is about what is the science and the concept of econometrics. Right, let us move on to the next slides. You can get all these slides in the ellipse class surely. With this video, I'm sure that it will be more interactive, so anything that we will do will be recorded here, right? Okay, I'll start off with this quote by this Henry David Thoreau, right? Somewhere, I mean, in the 18th century. All right, so the idea was the idea of econometrics, simplicity, and simplicity. I'll say, let your affair be 2 or 3 and not 100 and 1,000. Simplified, and simplified. Right, so the idea behind why this is very true. Although this is just the beginning of the econometric and the exploration of Yoast, just in the beginning part, at the start part. But when we do the estimation, when we come up with the variable, when we come up with the model, we should simplify the model so that we will get the best variable model and estimation out of it, right? But we will discuss this in the next, surely in the whole semester of this thing. But this is the quote that you should not forget when you do the estimation and when you do your FYP. All right, so this is the quote. Why econometric? Why a core in economics class and finance class? Also, the finance friends of yours in the faculty also take the subject, right, alongside with the economics. So why this is important, why econometric is important? Let us dissect, let us explore what is econometric, what's the use of econometric, and all the other related materials. So the to start off with this, I'm going to talk to you about the beauty of econometrics. Basically, in general, people do not like econometric, and therefore they try to avoid it. They say that because this is difficult. Why this is difficult is because it's another step ahead of statistics that you take last semester, and is 2 steps ahead of the mathematical economics that you take in your first year, and some more you need your the theoretical understanding behind, if you're in economics, behind the economics theory, if you're in finance, behind finance theory, and so on. So surely that in a university, in a faculty, not much people want to become an econometrician because this sometimes it can be very difficult. Like number 4 here, the communication between econometrician and decision makers can be difficult. One speaks statistical jargons. It talks about significant, reject hash null, and so on and so on. The other talks about, so what does that mean, this number? So what does this mean, this the other number, and so on. So our function here in this class, yes, we are going to explore a little bit of econometrics, and surely that we want this to be useful also in our not only just policy making, in practicality, in terms of daily life application, and also that's related to us. So means that once you estimate results, like from statistical point of view, you regress a regression. What does the number means? What does the number means in terms of economics? What does the number means in terms of decision making after that, right? So that is what we're going to discuss also here in this econometric class. So the objective of this course actually is to understand the major concept underlying econometric analysis, right? The focus there, right? There's the focus there. How, number two there is how we're going to carry out the steps in building the model, right? The model that we're going to build based on the variable that you identified and based on your understanding in the theory and your mathematics that you use and the statistic that you use. Those are the one that combine that be useful in this class, right? And then we try to develop, explore the skill that you're going to develop in the course vital, especially in applied economic works. Means that you're going to see that from the point of view of quantitative perspective, but then you interpret that into a qualitative perspective. Means that, like I told you just now, what's the use of the number, what we have in the number. I'll share with you some of the article available, especially from the IMF, which very much in line with what we are doing here, right, of what econometrics are supposed to do, right? So we critically also evaluate the empirical model and the results. Yeah, what does the result means? Does the result robust? What does robust means? Robust means that are the result correct? In that sense, are the result make sense or not? If let's say you get a certain result which does not make sense, how are you going to tell the people, the society that do not have this kind of knowledge? How are you going to tell people, this is good? You can't tell, for example, you can't tell your parents or maybe the villagers of where you're coming from, or your siblings who might not taking this subject together with you. If they are sitting with you right now, your parents, your mom, your dad, your siblings sitting with you watching this video, then it might be a different story, because they can attend this course also, because they can get it, the video there and then. And if that's so, how are we going to tell them this is significant, this is good, and this number means that it's significant, that number means not significant, and so on and so on. So you have to tell the people what does the number means to the society, to the layman, to the Tom, Dick, and Harry, or anyone else, right? And we're going to use the statistical packages to access to get the results. What we're going to use here in this semester is E-views, the short form for E, right? E-views, V-I-E-W-S. Yeah, econometric also start with E. Economics start with E. E-views start with E. My name, by the way, also start with E. So that's the interesting combination of why I love economics so much, right? So econometric also very powerful, useful for your final project later on, because you need this kind of knowledge to move forward into your final year and to produce a good FYP. All right, let's move on. So the definition of econometrics is brings the meaning of economic measurement. It comes from the two words of Greek called economy and measure. Econometrics, you can dissect, dissect it into combination of few fields, right? So basically this is based on the definition. You can find it, Google it easily and found it. Econometrics is defined as a quantitative. Remember, we're talking about quantitative because we talk about statistics and mathematics of actual economic phenomenon based on what the concurrent development of theory, observation related to the method of inferences. This is statistical method, right? So in other words, in short, I would say it's an integration of economics, mathematics, and statistics for the purpose of providing numerical values of the parameters of economic relationship and verifying economic theory. In other words, if I draw this thing nicely, well, you have one circle, the second circle, and the third circle. Not so too nice here. Let's say this is the theory, right? This circle is a theory, this circle is a mathematics, this circle is statistics, and econometrics is this one. The integration of these three particular strong field in economics. We know our economics theory. You have learned your economics theory from the first year, principal economics, principal economics, you take your micro, you take your macro, you take your other subjects also this semester and the next few semester, which might be very much related. And then you took your mathematics in the first year, you took your statistics in the second year. So this have been built up for you before you take this subject. And that's why the statistic, you must pass your statistic before you entering this econometric class, because this is important. All right, so this the also one of the birth of econometrics is actually dated back into Ragnar Frisch in 1933 in the editorial opening editorial of Econometrica. This is one journal, Econometric, called Econometrica, one of the oldest journal in econometrics. It's quite a long sentence to read, but in the end here, the last sentence here is that it is this unification that constitute econometrics, means that econometric contests, or it's an integration between economics theory, mathematical model, and statistics that constitute econometric itself, right? And it reflect the real world, reflect the economics life, reflect the real understanding of the what happenings around, especially in economics, especially in the economy, right? So here, quantitatively, this is what we are doing. We try to make a economic decision. In the next future, one of you will become a politician, one of you will become decision maker, or you a decision maker in your house. You need some information, like you need the theory behind, you need the data, and then you make a decision. All right, so it's like this is one remembrance to just to make this thing much more at ease, before we move on into a few more slides towards this the end of this chapter 1, is that this is one of the joke that maybe you can make, that the girl can take from a guy, or the girl should tell the guy. If a guy, for this is all for the girls out there in this course, especially if a guy asks you for the number, if a guy asks you, can I have your number? The next time you should answer is that let me estimate the number first, and I'll let you know after this. Right, because this is econometrics, so you need to estimate the number, and then once you get the number, you will tell the person, this is my number. All right, okay, this is one of the lame joke in econometrics actually. So the significance of econometrics is developing a quantitative estimates of economic relationship or model, and test our economic model, economic theory, and then put some empirical substance into the theoretical structure. And then this required econometrician requires you as an economic student, and me as an economic student too, to undertake this range of tasks. All right, so surely the goal, objective, and aim are all here. We formulate, and then you prove it, empirical verification, and make prediction, forecasting the value, and leads to policy recommendation. Like, for example, like how the government, how any government of this world make decision that, for example, I lead back you to 1997, 1998 of this Asian financial crisis. How does the government make decision to peg the ringgit Malaysia, peg the ringgit Malaysia to US dollar? How does the decision being made? How does all sort of decision being made, and so on? How does the government decide to pump in certain amount of money to the country, for example, in this pandemic time, right, to boost the consumption, to boost the economy? How does that decision be made? How does the decision in the central bank will make on whether to increase the interest rate or reduce the interest rate? Those actually need a certain types of estimation, right, from the data that they have, and then come up with certain estimates, and to know what sort of value, or what sort of investment, what sort of numbers, or what sort of threshold they should follow in that sense. So must have a certain types of understanding is that even if you make a sales, you become a sales manager in the future, you need some sort of a base model for you to know that, oh, the growth of next year is like this and like this, the growth of next year is like that and like that. Or maybe some of your friends, including your siblings, your relative, ask you, when last year 2020, that people asked, will 2021 becoming better? Will the growth rate of 2021 becoming better? We are in March right now, so it seems like we are not getting better, and the numbers are not proving to be better, has been reported, not only by in Malaysia but almost or less the whole world. And will 2022 be a better year? How do we know that? Based on the current scenario, based on what happening, then you can get some information, get the data, estimate the relationship, and then you can forecast what's going to happen, right? Forecast, yeah, prediction, forecast the future values. All right, so this is one example. But before I go into this, right, before I going into these slides, let me move forward to one article that I think is important here. Two articles actually. See, so what does econometric means actually? This written by Sam Colaris in IMF, written very well, and actually he's one of the instructor for the so-called online class, which is very good. I attended some of his online class actually. I will, those of you interested, you can register if it's still available right now. I'm not sure. I attended that few years back. Anyhow, so looking back at this, if you look back at this, it's rather interesting that what is econometric all about? Making theory counts, right? Economists develop economic model, right? If economic theory is to be useful for policy making, it must quantifiable, means that it must be able to measure it if it's useful for policy making. If not, we will just talk on the air without any basis, without any numbers. Talks about numbers, right? It talks about numbers. How does when to set the monetary policy, when to set the interest rate, when to know what happens, and so on. So it's not easy, like what we say. It's not easy to maybe to work in a central bank and to decide what to do. So this is very important decision, right? As this one also an important article or important book actually, Stock and Watson, to put in, econometric model are used in many branches of economics, including finance, labor economics, micro economic policy. Economic policy decisions are rarely made without econometric analysis to assess the impact. Right, for example, right now, the measurement, right, for the past 1 year, when the country in Malaysia started the MCO, it's been nearly 1 year right now. What happens? How much actually the loss of the economy, and how many people actually unemployed? All those statistics are there, but how does the statistic make sense? In that sense, how does the statistic, how does the number speak by themselves? We need to estimate, we need to massage the data, put it into certain software, what we call as e-views, and then get some results and useful to explain what is happening right now, and also for prediction for the future. We will know, the central bank will know when it's going to be the turnaround key for the economy, and when does the economy going back, bounce back, right? For time being, the recovery is there. So they slowly recover back when all the economic sectors are opened up, all right, because of this pandemic. With the vaccination is coming in. So we can measure whether the effectiveness of the vaccination, not just the effectiveness of vaccination from the pandemic, from the COVID-19, but the vaccination bring a certain new hope and opening up the economy, so that and it bring another positive impact towards the economy. Also, we can measure that impact, right? So as long as quantifiable, then quantified economics model. So that is what this econometric all about, especially. All right, so you can read this article. I uploaded in Ellipse also, right? This methodology is rather straightforward, depending on what we are doing here. And in this class, we're going to explore what we call as ordinary least square. It's not a new model, but it's been useful model until today. And then you're going to test the hypothesis, which you have learned in statistics a lot. Right, this is one article. The second article that I would like to share with you is also very much related to the first one. It's about, oh, this is too small. All right, let it be like this. Economic model is simulation of reality. Simulation. You simulate the reality. You reflect the reality. Right? Economists build simplified description to enhance the understanding of how things works. All right. How it works is, it's not easy. And you read this article. This is just a 2-page article. How we know that inflation is not a good thing, how we know unemployment is not a good thing, it's the negative impact towards the economy, and so on and so on. So this is all available in our theory, right? The theory says there's a negative relationship between demand and price. How we prove that? If we have a data of demand, the data of price, we can prove it in that sense. We build the model, right, that supply and demand, we build the model of equilibrium, and we prove it in that sense. Right? We prove it whether it's whole for certain product, does not hold for the other product, and so on and so on. So this is what econometrics useful for, right? The usefulness of econometrics. We study a little bit of what we call today is what we call as a data scientist, to become a scientist of data, data crushing, and then you become right, you become an econometrician in that sense, right? Let's go back to the slides that we have here. So basically, this is what I'm just now, as I mentioned just now, describing economic reality in econometrics model. So this one is a functional model, like simple one, quantity demanded equal to the price of price of chicken, price of fish, and disposable income, right? Quantity, quantity and its on price, price substitute, and disposable income. So let's say this is the on price chicken. Quantity of demand of chicken equal to the price of themselves, the fish, and the disposable income. It's a functional form. This is a mathematical model. This is functional form. This is mathematical model, and then this is econometric model. The difference between this one, right, and the next slide just now, right? The next slide just now is these terms. We added this term. We added the error term. Why we added the error term? Because of several reasons behind. All right. Again, we try to come up with this idea. This is mathematical model and absolute model. We will talk about this more in the next few chapters. This is a econometric model because this includes uncertainty inside there, something unknown, something that is not there, maybe some variable which is not there. So the error term represent numbers of things, which we're going to explore again in the next few chapters. Right, econometric analysis allowed us to put numbers in the above equation that contains abstract symbol. For example, like this. For example, you estimate, you have the data, and then you estimate, you get these numbers. Then what does these numbers means? You cannot say just it's significant, and you found that this is negative according to theory. This is positive, and then we know that this is substitute goods, and this is positive, which is good. Means that income, disposable income increase, quantity demanded increase, right? In that sense. So this is how you can interpret in that sense, right? Because you can interpret, for example, this function or this quantity demanded function where we estimate. Now we can test, further testing whether we want to know whether chicken is normal goods and so on, whether it's a positive sign, whether it's negative sign, and or whether it's a substitute goods or complementary goods, and so on and so on. This is all come about when we want to test the hypothesis that we have in the objective of the study, especially. All right. Then we can forecast. For example, we know that let's say this is the coefficient, the numbers. So these numbers will mean something. So how much does it increase? Here, you see, here down here. Indeed, we know specifically that increase in 1 unit of disposable income will bring about an increase of 0.03 unit of quantity demanded. This is number that you should know. And then in the future, we can plug in the numbers here, and then we know the quantity. We plug in the numbers of this one, we plug in the numbers of this one, we plug in the numbers of this one, and then you can solve for this equation, and then you will know Q. for certain about that. So this is like solving a mathematical model, a simple mathematical model, but then you get the estimate, you get these numbers from the real data that you have. That's the difference from the real data that you have. All right, so that's the forecasting. So it's important in that sense to make forecast, to know what's going to happen in the future. When does the economy going to bounce back for Malaysia? What will be the answer? Right? If that's the question that your siblings, your relative ask you, you can answer them, give me 6 months. I need to collect the data. Once I have the appropriate data, I need to model it, and then I need to estimate it. I'll tell you the result. All right, it's another joke, but it's true in that sense. All right, so the types of econometrics actually involve this theoretical and applied. We are more to decide. We are more to decide classical. We are not Bayesian. Bayesian is another school of thoughts, another book, another thoughts, different one. We are not here because we are not the one who built the model. We are the one who used the model. Applied, not theoretical. Theoretical is those who build the model, right? Not here, not here, not me, not you. Not going to expose you to that, right? So one of the most important tool that we're going to use is regression analysis, which is OLS. Not new. This is y equal to mc. Y equals to mx plus c. Right? mx plus c. Right? You have done that. We have done that since high school. Right? Econometrics analysis divided into three types of different data. One we call this as time series data, one called cross-sectional. Time series is you have time factor, means that from the data from 1970 to 2021 maybe, or no, to 2020. Cross-sectional at one point of the time. All right? And if you merit both of them, time series merit cross-sectional, we call it panel. Right? We'll talk more on this, surely. Right? The focus of this. And this is the practice of econometrics. This is like a steps, a rule of thumb. We have a theory, a statement, it specified the mathematical model, like the one that built for the demand just now, quantity demanded, and then you specify the econometric model, you plus the error term. Why plus the error term? We explain to you in the next chapter. Then obtain the data, right? They get the data, collect the data, and then after that you do some analysis, some magic there. Put in the software, get some analysis, get some result, do some hypothesis testing, analyze the result, interpret the result, and do some forecasting and use it for policy purposes. This is also the steps for your FYP actually, for doing a research in general. Or it's something like this, right? And like these slides, you have a economics theory from the past experience, past studies. This is important. That's why we have a literature review. Right, a section in your thesis called literature review, important. And then you format the model, generate data, gather data, and sort of forecasting. All right, this is a repeatable, and this is normally the Greek alphabet that you're going to use in econometric: alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, c, pi, rho, sigma, tau, chi, omega. These all the notification or the Greek alphabet that we're going to use. So in the end of the day, I might be translated the econometrics as economy trick, magic trick. It's like an economic trick. Like you have your data, you put it into the software, you get some output. It's a trick, is it? It's a magic trick. All right. This one you can get it from a MOOC online EDX homepage. What is econometrics? And what can you become, or what you can do for econometric course. All right. I will stop here. This is about 30 minutes of this video. Hopefully you're going to enjoy watching it. This is for the chapter number 1 again for the econometric course, and I wish all of you the best and stay safe. wherever you are watching this video. Adios and bye bye.